I want to share with you guys a quick case study of someone who kind of demonstrates why it's so important that we really shouldn't be commenting on people's bodies. I know a lot of people get praised for weight loss or praised for a change in body composition, but it's not always best to do that. And this person is a perfect example of why. So I want to flash back and tell you a little bit about this person's history. This is a young girl. She's 15 years old and she's 5'2". And at one point she was 170 pounds. And at that weight, she felt very uncomfortable and she was actually getting kind of picked on at school for her weight. And not only at school, but also on the internet. If she posted a picture, there would be some mean comments on there. And she was really getting into a negative spiral about her size, right? Now, she was already eating well and she's involved in sports, but she was in a larger body at the time and she was getting bullied for that, right? So of course, what she wanted to do was change that. So what did she do? She turned to the internet and she Googled what can she do for weight loss, and what she found was the magic number, right? 1,200 calories, which as we know is not enough for individuals. So she started eating 1,200 calories, and what happened? She started to lose a little bit of weight, of course, right? But then some obsession started to kick in and she was like, oh, okay, well, if I'm eating 1,200 calories, then I could probably go even lower and lose even more weight and more. And it just started to spiral, right? And it got to the point that leading up to coming to see me, she was eating only 500 calories a day and she was exercising 7 days a week for 2 to 3 hours at a time. She couldn't even take a day off because her obsessions would be like, oh, if I take a day off, I'm going to lose all my progress or I'm going to gain all this weight back. So we could really see that disorder creeping in, okay? So let's take a look at her metabolic test results. So what we see here is that her metabolism dropped way too low. It's at 730, which is well below where it should be for someone her age, height, and weight. And that's because she was restricting her intake and over-exercising, right? What you'll also see is that her protein substrate, or that breakdown of muscle, collagen, connective tissues, etc., was more than double what it should be, okay? So really, really high. And that's really important because that means that the body's chipping away at lean mass and muscle, which especially at a young age like this, it happens at all ages, but especially at a young age, what happens is that it can actually impact your bone density when your body's chipping away at your lean mass like this. And if this were to continue, she could find herself at risk for osteopenia and osteoporosis, which again is that low bone density, basically meaning that you have brittle bones. Now that is correctable by continuing to eat more and preventing this breakdown of lean mass, but that's this picture here, right? Is her metabolic rate was really, really low and the body is breaking down way too much of her lean mass because of this really restrictive behavior. Now, what's important to note about this study here, right, is this is just a quick one. I don't have a follow-up metabolic test for you because we're still working on this, and this is something that is probably going to take a while, but I wanted to share this with you because what do you think happened to this individual? When she lost this weight, she got down to 107 pounds. So remember, she's 5'2", she started at 170, and that's when she was kind of getting picked on. And then she got down to 107 pounds from very disordered behaviors, restricting very severely and over-exercising. And what it also did is impact her brain. She didn't have as good memory. She didn't have as good focus in school. She also noticed that her obsessions were really, really bad, getting to the point where she was thinking about food 80 to 90% of the day. She was weighing and measuring every single thing that she ate. There's certain food groups that she wouldn't eat at all. She would freak out if she tried to eat them, just really, really disordered. But what happened? People praised her for this weight loss. They went into this and they were like, oh, wow, I'm so happy for you. You look great, etc. So what did that do? That fueled those disordered behaviors. Because what that does, even if you don't realize it, is actually make this person think that what she's doing is great, when really she's falling into the trenches of an eating disorder. Now, I don't say this to be really depressing. I know it's a little bit of a sad story, but we are working together and things are starting to improve and things look great. But the moral of this story here is it's not always best to comment on people's body shape or body size or body change because of situations like this. You have to look at the full picture, and what's best to do is do different things, like comment on someone's hair or their outfit, or be like, hey, you look really happy, as opposed to saying, oh, you look great because you lost weight, because you have no idea what's happening there, and just because their body changed, that doesn't tell the full picture of what's going on with that individual.